In today's interconnected world, culture is no longer confined by borders. On university campuses, students from diverse backgrounds interact daily, bringing with them unique traditions, values, and ways of life. At the University of Nottingham, Malaysia, multiculturalism is not just present, it is life. And indeed, as we are surrounded by these various cultures, these cultural elements often shape our identity and sense of belongings. However, what defines the culture? Culture is not only traditions passed down through generations, but also the everyday practices that shape how we interact, belong, and understand one another. As an international university, UNM brings together students from diverse cultural and ethnic backgrounds, creating a space where everyday cultural practices are constantly visible and shared. In this environment, culture is expressed through everyday customs. Whether it is what students eat, the language they speak, or even the traditions they continue to practice.
Can you tell me about a cultural practice or tradition that's important to you in your daily life here in UNM, like the common food, language, clothing, or any other daily practices that you do?
So some cultural habits that are important to me are the indirect communication and being polite. So as a Japanese student, I tend to speak softly and express disagreement in a gentle manner. So, and I also try to be considerate, especially in a group conversation. So like, I will wait for others to finish expressing their ideas.
A cultural practice that affects my daily life is probably about food, how we don't waste any food. If we're eating, we have to finish everything on our plate.
How do you feel this practice shapes your sense of who you are or your personal values?
I think that it's everything that I am right now as a Muslim. I feel a lot more connected with my faith and my personal value as well. And I also became a lot more comfortable with what I'm wearing, with how I see myself, and with how I feel the world as well.
I think it's because, do you remember when I say sometimes I wear the kebaya, right? So it's basically like a traditional clothing that that Malay people wear a few hundred years ago. So I feel like by me wearing that, I actually identify myself as a Malay. I have a Malay nationality and I'm also a Malaysian here. It's just the difference is like we live in a modern era, but by wearing that I still know our old traditional
Feel
values.
connected to your roots?
Yes, I feel connected to my roots.
Have you noticed any differences between your culture and other students?
Yeah, definitely. Because here in UNM, it's just a diverse culture place and diverse atmosphere and society. And also I make a lot of friends with from India or something. They have their own language, except for English or just basic Mandarin, and they don't speak Mandarin. And their languages, the structure is just so different from our Chinese also. But actually, I'm eager to learn different languages. So basically, I just learn a little India from my friends also. Yeah.
I notice sometimes people get way too much food, more than they would actually eat, or they throw away food without really thinking about it. And it doesn't really affect me that much, but it makes me feel grateful that I was taught to appreciate my own food.
So, has this experience shaped any of your cross-cultural learning, exchange, or reflection to you?
It absolutely did, because there's so many cultures here in Malaysia that I didn't have chance to interact with back in my home country. I would say that what did shape me is probably diversity, how people interact with each other, how many different religions and nations tend to respect each other even though they have so many differences. That's like the main highlight for me.
I guess it does make me reflect, and I think I can say I hold quite a respect to them, especially like when talking about my example. For my Muslim friends, I really respect like their dedication, although I know in their point of view it's just like something they do every day. It's like they've never lived life without having to practice this. But from my point of view, I think it's really cool. I guess I respect the dedication they put towards their religion and like their practices and the dedication. Yeah.
So, how should students manage intentions between adapting to multicultural environment and staying connected to their culture change? Are there any examples done from today's society as reference, if possible?
Well, I mean, again, I can talk about my own experience,
Yeah,
right?
sure, go ahead.
I live here. I've lived in Indonesia for a long time. I never felt like I lost myself. I was always adapting and learning, and but especially sort of adapting to the way that people do things in the place that I'm in, that I'm living in, or that I'm visiting. I think that's very important to not, as a visitor, also do not be rigid. Don't say, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. This is, you have to find a way to engage. And if you can't at all, maybe you don't belong there, right? If you completely just put off by the way things are done in a certain place, it's probably not the best place for you to be, right? Because you have to, both sides have to give, right? You have to give of yourself. That other side, the place that you're going to, also has to be able to accept you as different but adaptable, right? I think I'm pretty good at adapting because I spend a lot of time in other places. I have throughout my life in various places, in Sweden and Russia and Southeast Asia. But I think the sense of what grounds you can be personal, it can be national or cultural. For me, I think it's more personal. Because even in America, I was always, a mixture of things. My father's from Sweden, my mother grew up outside of America, so I never was a traditional kind of true American either. So I think the ability to adapt in certain things that have just been important to me throughout my life, like skateboarding, for example, or certain kinds of music. I brought about 1,000 and a few hundred vinyl LP records with me here in about 20 boxes on a ship when I came. And my music collection is also something that grounds me and that's very important to my sense of self. And my work as a filmmaker also is something, and my work as a professor. But so there are these things that aren't necessarily from where I'm from, but they're, in my case, they're sort of personal to me and have followed me everywhere I go, and adapted and changed, but been also constant. So I think those flexible but constant things are maybe the most important things to ground you in a different place, so you don't feel like you're losing yourself. Yeah.